Hi, what's up my fellow stoners? It's your cool sis, Annie.
And the dying younger one, actually she was older, Minty.
Yeah, that is effed up to think about that. And this is FunUntitled, where we serve every cast with an FU.
So today we're gonna have a fun episode where when me and Annie saw what the best 3 technologies that the audience thought was for Dr. Stone, we thought, no way. No, this cannot be it.
No, I refuse to live in this world. Well, what was it that got number 1? Katana?
No, sulfur drug was number 1. Katana was number 2. And I cannot remember number 3 because the list was bull.
Yeah, I remember the list. It was clearly just all anime watchers.
And I think it was meant to cover the whole manga.
No, you know what? It was Cola because Gen, Kohaku, and Rumi was on the cover.
Oh, Cola's not a bad one. It's just a little boring and it's just a little gay.
Hella gay.
It's hella gay. Me and Annie have 3 totally different lists of what the top 3 should be, so we're gonna have a little debate round.
But just in case, I don't know what kind of people would do this. In case you don't know what Dr. Stone is, we'll do a quick summary so that we're all caught up.
I mean, basically, the modern world has been petrified to stone. All the human beings no longer exist, except as stone statues, obviously. Then thousands of years later, one high school genius scientist named Senku Ishigami comes to life because his brain is so powerful that he decides that he's gonna come back and bring the world that's now in the Stone Age back to modern times.
So it's kind of just watching this one high school genius rebuild literally everything and then in science. So he has to make fire, that's literally the first thing he makes, and then he makes stone tools, and then he makes a house, and then later on he makes a car.
Yeah, so let's go through it. We're gonna list some honorary mentions, concentration style, no repeats or hesitations.
64.
Shut up, that's the beginning. So a drone.
Oh, dude, okay, in the manga, when they mentioned a fidget spinner, I was like, oh, good way to date yourself. Oh, but you know what I love that didn't make to my top 3? Clothes. When Yuzuriha made the clothes, I love domestic things so much.
Oh yeah, and if it wasn't obvious, all spoilers, we're covering the whole manga. We try maybe not go too plot heavy, but if it's important for a technology, important for a debate, no bars.
Yeah, so come at your own risk, but I'm pretty sure you won't get a lot of it if you don't read the manga, but you might just enjoy 2 people passionately talking about things that don't matter and acting like it's the end of the world if the other person doesn't agree.
They do say rank videos are one of the top videos that I watched.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's why it does a ton of top 10s and top whatevers. Look at the Miss Mojo video, a YouTube channel.
That's true. But what other technologies can we give honorary mentions to?
God, I'm trying to think of.
Oh, I love when they made that the car and they had to, for the car they had to make the road, so then Gen got a quick lesson on how to make gravel.
Oh, that was interesting.
I think it's made out of poop though. They didn't explain it that well.
It was not made out of poop. I mean, I like all the stones they use and how they use each one with the different unique properties.
Jeez, I wonder who Minty's favorite character is in Dr. Stone. Is it the guy collecting all the stones?
Is it Dr. Stone?
As much as Katana wasn't really that useful, it was kind of cool that he was able to make a sword.
No, I mean, yeah, and then the gold and silver dip spears.
Ah, totally forgot about that. Completely useless, but delicious.
What was useless was the gun. I don't remember that ever being really useful.
It's meh. Oh, the moment when they found the platinum to make the revival fluid.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that is beautiful.
If you guys didn't read the Byakuya, what is it, one-shot volume?
I don't know what it is, like a make?
I think they call it a spin-off, but if you read the Byakuya spin-off, I know half of it is kind of already a repeat from what's in the manga, but it's so, heartwarming and heartfelt, and it just makes that moment even more, deep.
Oh, when they made the record, that was pretty cool.
Oh, the record using the diamond?
Yeah.
That's cool. That was in the Byakuya spin-off.
No, that was it?
Yeah.
I don't remember the Byakuya spin-off too well.
Because they used the Russian couple's wedding rings to engrave the record.
Yeah, what else? I'm trying to think of more honorable mentions, but in my head it's just get to the list already. You have so many cool things on that list you can gush about.
Let's go on to the list anyways.
Alright, so this is gonna be kind of like rounds where we're gonna pit like our third choice, then we're gonna pit our second choice, and then pit our first choice, and we'll get like about a couple of minutes to defend our choice.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of minutes to say why we love it. We'll debate. I don't know how long. We'll see how intense it gets. And we'll move on. And then you guys can decide the winners, because it'll be too biased for us to do so.
Here, Minty, why don't you go first since the loser gets the advantage?
Rude. Okay, so third place. When you're a young man and you find a passion that no one in your village understands, but you realize, you know in your heart that there's worth in it, and then you find a time-traveling high school genius who validates you and says that you should continue pursuing your dreams, and then you learn from them. You become their protege, and now the time has come where you are put to the test to use your knowledge to good use and actually help the people, help your village, and help science become number one. That is when Chrome rises to the challenge and makes the water wheel, the thing that will give them unlimited energy and electricity to create other things such as light. What could be more important, except the other two things I'm going to list after this, than a water wheel that provides you energy?
Can I say real fast? You said this wasn't going to be all gay, but that was the gayest intro I've ever heard.
And it only gets gayer.
That reminds me, okay, the water wheel is cool.
No. You go over your bread first, and then you can debate.
Okay, so spoiler alert. Thanks, Minty. Unveiled the curtain. My number third choice is bread because one, hella useful. I will admit I don't have too many good reasons. I mostly picked bread because I am a biased fuck who love Frances. They are my favorite character in the whole series because you gotta love a non-binary icon who is just, they're so suave and cool, and they get introduced making bread. Okay, first of all, to make the bread you have to get the wheat, and then with the wheat you saw Taiju working super hard, and he's like, if we're gonna get all these people, I want to make sure that no one starves. And Yuzuriha's like, he's trying really hard because he never knew his parents. And it's just, Taiju moment. Then you get Frances and Rusuri's relationship. My OTP. No one ships them because no one considers Frances a boy, but whatever. That's my qualm. I'm going to have to deal with it in a later time. And then, I love watching people cook because Food Wars, Toriko, there's a whole channel all about cooking, and the way Frances cooks is just mwah.
You also notice how the bread never comes up after that? I mean, it's useful. I'm not saying it's not, but it's a small thing. It's not like a water wheel,
It's not like a water wheel, but at the same time, does the water wheel really come up later?
Okay, yes, they find ways to... I think they find ways to replace the water wheel. I actually don't remember. They don't.
They made a better water wheel.
It's still a water wheel.
I'm just saying, but Frances is still cooking.
Yeah, but it's not like she's making... Okay, she did make better bread later. They made better bread later. The water wheel, man, it made electricity. How could you,
I thought...
The Christmas tree scene? Come on, that was cute.
Okay, but you can't say the water was directly caused that. Because you could have just had Kinro and Genro keep doing their thing.
Oh yeah, let's have two idiots just push a rope to get the copper wheels to keep spinning to create electricity.
Hey, they had a little spinning thingy with the hands. A crank. That's the word.
The crank. Yeah.
They crank that hole on the floor.
Water wheel was working 24/7.
Again, my bread isn't too strong. It's completely biased. But if I didn't have one biased thing on this list, I would die.
It's ridiculous that bread is up here.
Screw you and your water wheel. You're just... Okay, I hate your number two. Why don't you talk about your number two? It should not be up this high.
Okay.
She's getting herself ready to make it really gay, and I can't stand her.
It's not gay, unless you ship these people. Which I guess actually a lot of people do.
Yes.
Okay, when you have traveled nothing but by feet and maybe wheels, you look to the sky and you think there's nothing you can do to get up there. But Senku had a dream. Senku had a wish to always go to the moon. Before he can go to... Stop making that face. Before he can go to the moon, he has to travel through the clouds. And so, he had a chance to bring a navigator with him named Rusuri. But Rusuri's not in the air. Rusuri's a waterman. How can he be helpful? But he is. Senku, with the help of Rusuri and Chrome, flies through the sky, navigates through a storm. I don't remember what kind of storm. It was a weird cloud storm.
Yeah.
They burst through the sky, reaching to the sun, and landing safely back to Ishigami Village, because they were kind of away. But what's better than being able to travel the sky when everyone has always wished they could have wings?
You remember why they made a hot air balloon, right?
To travel!
To find oil.
And to travel. Because once they found the oil, they made like a little like a work town, you know, like one of those gold panning cities, but instead of gold panning, they're mining for oil, and then they could travel back and forth between that place and Ishigami Village in less than a day.
They used cars and boats for that.
They needed the oil first to make the road.
Okay. But yeah, okay. The hot air balloon. Yeah,
what did I say? We debate after.
Okay, fine.
You're so quick to just dismiss me.
I'm used to debate where someone's like Ace Attorney, someone says something and then person B like rebuttals that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, my number 2 choice is glass. Why glass? Because first off, it starts off with getting Kaseki to help with the glass because he's the only craftsman in that village, and it's just a cool moment where like Kaseki's like actually doing the glass blowing correctly, and Senku's like every generation you're gonna have a craftsman, and like that's just how great humans are. And as soon as you get all the glass beakers made and everything, then you go to Suika. You can't see, can you? That's why you wear that watermelon for the pinhole effect. And Suika's like, nah, I just had the blurry eye disease. It's fine, but if I could see the guys' faces just once, I would be happy. And then what does Senku do? He makes glasses out of the watermelon hat, and he takes her to a sunflower field. And like the first thing that Suika can ever see clearly is a field of beautiful flowers. And you know how important the glass making scene is? It was in the opening twice when Kaseki was making the glass and then Suika in the sunflower field. It's like, and there's so many uses they used with glass. Like you couldn't do half the things with the beakers. And then there's so many beautiful moments of Kaseki had to making complicated glass, inventions for Senku. And the most important thing that you could do with glass. You gave Kinro glasses and he became 10 times hotter. Oh, thank you, glass.
Look, I will admit the glass one definitely comes in clutch a lot. I do love all the scenes you've mentioned.
Yes.
Those are really like simple inventions that like we take advantage. Glass beakers, glasses, when he made the distillation contraption. I mean, you have a lot more good points for glass than you do for bread. But come on, the hot air balloon, when it bursts through, there's a rainbow. Kohaku's like, oh my god, you guys are like here. Like that's crazy. It was like a 2-day travel and you guys cut it into like quarter.
I'm just gonna say, hot air balloon and glass, both important. Hot air balloon was an important moment for Rusui. And maybe that one moment before when he got to choose who got on the hot air balloon with Kwam, where like, you want me to believe that we can go in the sky, but I can't just take your word for it because I'm a scientist. And again, and Senku's like, oh look, this gay boy. Okay, what's wrong with Boom?
It has also 3 of the generals. Who doesn't love the generals?
People who think Ukyo is overrated.
Nah, I like Ukyo.
I like Ukyo too. There's some people don't,
Sad.
But glass is so useful, and it's like some of the beginning's most beautiful scenes.
Fair enough. I'm still gonna hold that hot air balloon is more important than glass.
Screw you too. I still hold that the glass brought Kaseki in.
I do like Kaseki. Who
Yes,
does?
babe.
I guess we'll finish. I guess that one's done. I guess, it's a good transition to my number 1.
By the way, guys, seriously vote in the comments to say who won because I feel like I should win at least half of this.
There's 3 rounds.
Yeah, half of it.
So you won one and then kind of won the other one?
Tied, yeah.
I can't imagine you winning either of those.
I'm aiming so low. Just do your number 1. Do your pathetic number 1 and get decimated by my number 1. Every time?
Yeah, every time.
Okay.
Senku has given so much to give to the Ishigami village, to give them warmth, to give them energy, to give them food. It's time for them to give back to Senku. It's time for them to be led by a person who Senku saved their life. Physically, because I think he got the shit beaten out of him. And spiritually, when he gave him the cola. Cola should have been maybe on one of our lists. Probably mine's. But, stop making that face.
And real fast, the water wheel kind of led to the cola.
It did, didn't it? Because of the whole pressurized...
Because that's how they made the carbonated water.
You're ruining my story.
Whatever.
I'm building a fantasy for people to live in and to understand what's
real
going
fast,
on.
I love this dynamic of you. Imagine a world, and then yada yada yada. And I'm like, let me see how many words I can fit in a minute.
Which really goes with our personalities because I'm more like feelings, like, oh, I just remember this show being good.
Yeah.
While you're more like, no, this show is bad and evidence A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
Yeah, okay.
Where did I leave off? Okay, this is where I'll go back in. Gen was impressed by a man who could figure out an exact date, not knowing who it was. But when he did figure it out, he said, let's give this boy everything. Well, not everything he would want, but leading to the goal, believing that he could reach the moon. He got Senku to go away so that they could find, I believe they found tungsten in the end. And Gen worked the villagers' asses off and used his primitive knowledge because Gen is a genius, but just in a more mentalist way than a science way. But enough basic high school knowledge to create a fantastic gift for Senku on his birthday because he also took up the habit of counting seconds to imitate a genius that he saw who figured out the exact time. He created a telescope. And not just a telescope, but a huge telescope hub. So that way the roof would open up to the stars so Senku could look and see that's where my dad was.
Oh god, you lost me until you said the dad. Now I'm getting all them feelings. Okay, let me take a page from your book. Imagine you're a high school boy named Senku, and you have a monkey friend named Taiju, and you ask that monkey friend, what's the number one thing you can make? And Taiju screams, smartphones! You just think he's an idiot, but then you have to separate from your monkey friend. Bye, monkey! And then, you're missing him, and you're like, I'm finally gonna make the thing he wanted me to make. I'm going to make a cell phone for my monkey friend so I can talk to him again. And then there's so many beautiful moments that goes into making the cell phone. First, you have Senku delegating some work to Chrome because he's like, and you're like, hey, I taught you everything I knew. Not everything I knew. I taught you enough where you can separate from me. You don't need me to hold your hand. Use everything I taught you to help me make my cell phone. And then you have that beautiful moment where he tries to figure out how to make a high melting point to melt the metal that they need. And then Kaseki sees this beautiful friendship and is like, boy, I wish I had friends when I was your age. And it's like, what are you talking about? You do have friends. You have us. You don't care that I'm old? Of course not. What does age have anything to do with anything? And Kaseki just starts crying and he's like, I can do this complicated glass stuff, but can you do the high five thing you do with Chrome? And Senku's like, hell yeah. And they did a high five, and then Suka comes in clutch being like, I want to help too. What can I do, Senku? Me and the other kids are gonna, do things with our tiny hands. And Senku is like, yeah, you can. Go make some wire. Yeah, wait, oh no, our hands are so tiny and cold and the winter's coming. We can't keep doing this. Our hands are getting numb. Senku's like, oh no, I'm gonna help you guys out with doing a tsundere way. And he makes a stove for the kids and the old people so that way they can stay warm and still make wire. And the dad's like, Kohaku's dad, the formal chief, he comes in, oh, you made a stove for our villagers? Senku being tsundere, no, I just need the charcoal byproduct from the stove. If they want to get warm from the stove, that's on them, not on me. I didn't think you would be a good chief, but seeing how you're using science to help people, I think our village is in good hands. Goes off in a really weird climatic scene. I'm not sure why they made it so dramatic. And then finally, in the end, they made a cell phone. And then that was such a crucial moment to have to talk to Taiju and Yuzuriha, who's in the enemy's camp. And that is why cell phone gets to be number one. So many things went into making the cell phone. Even in the anime, when they were making the cell phone, they had a whole montage building the cell phone to the opening one song. If they do a callback to the opening one song, then that's how you know it's an important moment.
You actually have a lot of good arguments, even though you could say that a lot of your arguments was just more about the process of making cell phones than the cell phone itself. But I guess we didn't really specify what it was about. But you probably could have taken it a step further by bringing in the earring.
I thought about that, but I was like debating if I wanted to talk about the earrings or like that moment I personally like when they tried to. It's the moment they got Nikki from the other team by like talking to her and then playing Lily's song. But then I was like, I don't think that's considered the cell phone. I think that's considered the record player.
That would probably consider record player.
Yeah.
That was pretty manipulative though.
Yeah, but that's getting right. So yeah, I could have bought the earrings in.
If you guys are confused, the earring is the whole them able to send out a message out and only the person wearing the earring could hear it. The petrification arc is the best arc so far.
That's the one where they go, in case the names aren't canon throughout the whole fandom, because I think the fandom's too tiny to like agree on something, surprisingly. So I think the petrification's when they meet Amaryllis on that island.
I think on the wiki it's called Treasure Island arc.
Oh, okay.
Because that's where they're going to like find the treasure, Byakuya's treasure.
Yeah. So if you want to judge completely on usefulness, like as a hot air balloon or versus glass, cell phone definitely beats telescope.
Fair enough, but we are also judging it, as you say, the process of making it. And there's just a lot to know of, like, getting to know Gen's character, seeing the process of how, like, the village really came together and used the best that they could of their primitive knowledge to make this telescope hut. It's not just, not just a telescope. It's like a whole contraption of the changing of a building. And it's like, it really is like shooting for the stars, showing the dream.
That's the word.
Observatory. I've been using hut because we live in a primitive mind and we live in the stone world. But in the modern times, it's an observatory. We're moving on. I mean, not our conversation. I just mean them progressing through like technology from living in a hut to having a telescope hut to being an observatory.
I think it's interesting if you compare our three, because I picked, this to remind everyone, I picked bread, glass, and cell phone. And there's a lot of moments leading to the invention that I considered. Like the cell phone, I also considered that's when they made the cotton candy, because that's when they first needed wire. And meanwhile, Minty picked the water wheel, hot air balloon, and telescope. The three gayest scenes in Dr. Stone.
Okay, there are also big inventions that leads to bigger things.
Telescope.
A romance?
Yeah, no.
To be fair though, I mean like 5 of these things are gay. If you like the water wheel, you ship Senku and Chrome. If you like the bread, you ship Rusi and Frenchess. If you like the hot air balloon, you ship Senku and Rusi. I don't know for glass. But telescope is Senku and Gen. Cell phone is Senku and Taiju.
The glass is if you just like seeing Kaseki's buff body.
If you like DILFs, glass.
Is that Gilf?
He's not a father or a grandfather.
I don't know.
Let's not put any label on glass, because Suika is also very part of glass.
Suika's a dill.
Shut up, no. We did not endorse that.
Fight us in the comments if you don't think Suika's a dill.
It just depends on your perspective, Like, if you like the official list, you just really like the anime. If you like my list, you like big moments. And if you like Annie's list, you like tinier moments, but that are like continuous throughout the series. Which is, to be honest, none of them is really wrong.
Yeah, basically.
I don't know why I said that, because we're supposed to debate as if our lives depended on it.
Yeah, I'll still stand by. I'm the best.
I will too.
Okay, there's something I will give you for the telescope. This is something only anime viewers care. The telescope, I think that was ending 2 of Dr. Stone, where like Senku's in like the mist of stars.
Oh.
And I'm like, oh, the ending 2 is so much better than ending 1, where it's just still pictures that the author drew.
Oh, ending 2 is because also about Byakuya, right?
Yeah.
Anything with Byakuya, it's gonna make you like get the feels.
Byakuya is one of the father figures that like cannot do anything wrong.
Oh man, we really should talk about the record player even more.
Yeah, we should have.
Byakuya leaving his last message. Senku crying.
Yeah.
God.
Like, Senku's just an emotionless being. Like, he wasn't even, like, he didn't even display any emotions being reunited with Taiju, his best friend. But, like, when he sees Byakuya's grave.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy what Byakuya did. Like, everything he's accomplished.
And, like, how they even got the platinum every day. He went looking for platinum until, like, his last thing he ever did on this earth was looking for platinum for Senku.
Oh my god, and then when he collapsed from fatigue, and Boichi Ichi, the artist of Dr. Stone, drew it so beautifully because I believe it's at night, so the river is dark, but then it's reflecting the stars. So he just looks like he's like almost like a god of the new world, being a man in space. And he sees a flash of Zero just like always flashing to Byakuya that she's there still.
Wasn't it the thing where he fell forward and he's like, ah shit, I wish that I fell backwards so at least I could die looking at the stars, but then he looks into the ocean's reflection and then that's where he sees the stars?
Yeah. And then Chrome, he's like charting, he always sees this flash and he's charting it, but he can't read Japanese, so he can't see that it says I'm still here, Byakuya. And then Senku never looks at it.
Again, y'all, read the spin-off. It's a gut wrench.
Yeah, it's only 9 volumes. 9 chapters. 9 volumes is kind of a bit, but 9 chapters. And it's a little slow. There's a lot of words, a lot of reading in the beginning, but it does pick up, and the ending is so satisfying. And we may have spoiled it for you, but it's still worth reading.
We should have a debate of like which manga series was good by volume 10.
Ooh.
Because Eden Zero by Hiro Mishima got to like volume 12 and I was like, it got to volume 12 and it's still not good? What the in Fairy Tail we got to Fantasia at this point.
Yeah, and probably shouldn't be saying this at the end of the episode, but read Dr. Stone. Convince other people to read it, watch it.
I'm really sad that a lot of people don't read Dr. Stone because Senku looks weird.
Yeah, and I will admit, when I first heard about Dr. Stone, I thought it was a joke. Because I would never have believed that, oh, an artist put so much thought and research into making, like, actual technology. Like, I thought it was going to be, like, fantasy or some... I don't know, I just thought it was going to be, like, a joke, like, Bobo, but it was actually very thoughtful and well thought out.
Fun fact, I first found out about Dr. Stone through this fairy tale Tumblr artist. I won't drop the name. So I looked at one chapter just to see what it was about. And I thought it was just one modern dude going back in time, bringing back technology. Because this was a chapter where he blinded Homura with the flash bomb. So I was like, oh, this just seems like such a stupid premise. But then, like, I should have known, because Dr. Stone is one of those rare books where, like, you have a different author from the writer. So whenever it's like that, the book tends to be really, like, well-researched because you split up the work.
Yeah, and the writer is, who wrote Ice Shield 21, which is a very popular football sports manga.
And you know that it was very popular because the artist of One Punch Man drew for Ice Shield 21, and he only picks winners.
And with that, again, leave a comment on who you think won.
Remember, Annie was the one that said bread, glass, and cell phone. Just put Annie in the comments. I'll get it.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.